All right, Tallahassee Big Bend area sports fans. My name is Mark Adams, and I'm with Four Quarters Online, and this is the Extra Point. I'm here as always with my tag team partner,
What's up, Mark? Coach Cofield.
Coach. Man, we are in the deepest part of the playoffs right now. We had some teams that bit the dust, and some other teams that advanced. It's always interesting this time of year. I enjoy it thoroughly. It's playoff football time in the area, and let's go ahead and get into these scores. Let's go ahead and talk about Rickards. Down in Reball at home, really just a great way to advance into the regional finals. Rickards beating the Trojans 44-26. Raiders put up their highest point total all season. Michael Townsend and company ran wild over the Trojans defense. And really for the Raiders, it just was a great night. The quarterback Townsend threw 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Rico Watson. Running back DeAndre Francis ran for another 2 touchdowns, and Cameron Bell had a 70-yard kickoff return, very electrifying. Raiders lit up the scoreboard.
It's exciting to see the Raiders having such a great season. Coach Lewis talked about his team coming back this year, and he thought that he had one of the more experienced teams coming back. But most of his players, not all of them starters, but most of them got to play a lot the year before, and he thought that he would have a good season. Looked like it's bearing out with the results.
Yeah, the Raiders defense is playing excellent football. They really are hitting their stride. I think if they had been able to play a 10-game season, most teams, when they get into about 8 or 9 games, they really start clicking, and it's really showing for the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders look like one of the teams to beat going into the semifinal round of the playoffs, and it looks – they one game away from the big show.
Yeah, going up against Baker County next week will be an absolute game to watch. But, man, a great turnout for the Raiders, and they really turned it on, finding different ways to score. Already had the outstanding defense, and now it looks like they got the offense to match.
Yeah, it looked like the Raiders' only loss came after the loss to the quarterback Townsend injury. And really, other than that, it's nonstop for the Raiders.
Let's move across town. University Christian coming into town, taking on NFC at Eagle Field. And Eagles were not able to do very much against the University Christian defense. DeAndre McCray and company was stifled all night long. Offense only was able to generate close to maybe about 190, close to 200 yards of offense, which is not like the Eagles that we're used to seeing. University Christian came in and really just kind of did what they wanted to do in the second half as they were able to pull away from NFC. It was a bit of a close game in the first half, could have gone either way, but too much of the Christians' defense that really stymied NFC. And unfortunately for the Eagles, they're going to have to hang it up this season. Trooper Price, C.J. Frison, and J.P. Pickles were the bright spots on the Eagles' defense, but not enough to be able to get them into the second round. Excuse me, not the second round, but into the next round.
Yeah, Mark, they fought a tough University Christian school. As a perennial champion, they've always been one of the guys that's always in the mix at the end of the season, and their schedule was indicative of how they played at the end of the year. Every team they played this year, they start off a little slow, and at the end of the game, they rolling.
Yep. So for the Eagles, a great season, but unfortunately, just didn't go their way that night as University Christian downs NFC 35-20. Madison, big winners against Union County, 18-7. Didn't have to do a whole lot, but did just enough to get the win and move on to the next round. Cowboys quarterback R.J. Williams rushed for 105 yards and a score to help edge the Tigers. And really for Madison, it's just running back by committee and defense by committee as the Cowboys really are relying on team strength to really get them to this point. Normally we look for stars and standouts, and this is not this version of Madison in 2020 that we're used to seeing. This is a brand new team. A lot of the guys that we're just now getting to know this season have been stepping up big for the Cowboys. A lot of underclassmen and getting some playing time, and Madison is really taking on a new identity, and they're finding ways to get it done.
Well, Mark, the game was a tough game for Madison. It battled 7-6 most of the first half. And then at the end of the game, they pulled away with 2 touchdowns to take over the game. Union was a hard-fought game for them, and Maybe it's helping them further along in the playoffs. When you meet those tough teams, it helps you in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Madison is definitely battle tested. Have played quite a few schools that are much higher classification than they are, and they've been able to grab some wins in this really topsy turvy kind of season. But Cowboys are definitely back where they want to be, and they're a couple of games away from getting back to their fourth consecutive state title. So Cowboys next week will face another tough test as they travel down to Hawthorne. That'll be another hard-fought game, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Florida High hits the road, goes back over to Jacksonville, take on Trinity Christian, and man, it really just the conquerors too much for Florida High as they down the Seminoles 45-14, and really the Seminoles campaign to get back to the state title game ends in disappointing fashion, as the offensive unit just was not able to get going against a powerful and stout Trinity Christian defense. And, you look at Trinity Christian as D1s all over the defensive side of the ball. I think they've got guys that have got offers from schools like Alabama, Florida, Georgia, you name it. So, for Florida High, this was, really just kind of a disappointing way to end the season for them, I'm sure. But really, they had an outstanding year. Really did a lot better than what a lot of people were thinking about. I think Coach Hickman and company knew what they had, but man, Trey Donaldson came out of nowhere for a lot of us. Defensive standout was played absolutely lights out at quarterback all season. Just hate to see it end this way for the Seminoles.
Yeah, they had a tough game. Trinity Christian is probably one of the better teams in the whole state of Florida, not just in 3A. And they had a tough task coming in and playing them at their place and trying to take away the win. It's a tough place to play. Been over there a few times, never won in that stadium, and it is tough to go over there. And that is a great team they played. Probably, I would look for them to be the state champ this year.
Yeah, definitely. Their resume definitely shows it. They played both American Heritages, beat both of those teams, shut them out actually. So their defense is legit and for real. But for Florida High, really, those kids really fought hard all season long. Definitely like what we saw coming back from last year's state championship run. It just fell a little bit short for the Seminoles, but they had a great 2020 despite everything that's happened this year.
It's tough to lose like that, but when you're playing a team like that, it's asking a lot of the young men to come away with a win. And playing, like I said, playing at their place, they don't usually lose over there, and it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy though for Florida High.
Taylor County travels out to Sneeze, and they ran into an absolute buzzsaw where the Pirates just had their way, 60-21 over Taylor County. Sneeze advances to the state semis, I believe, for the first time in school history. I'll have to check the records again, but Pirates really have a dominant offensive line, and it showed. Running back Calvin Stringer ran for 135 yards, and they had quite a few guys that I think they had about a trio of running backs that really had a great night behind that big offensive line. On the defense, DeMarcus Davis had 6 tackles and 2 interceptions. And on the offensive line, Hayden Mercer graded out at 94% with 2 pancakes. And really, Coach, we've seen these guys 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". I mean, that's an absolute wall. And I would love to run behind those guys.
Yeah, Coach Thomas is doing a fantastic job over at Sneed. They're having a successful season. Only one loss during the whole year, which as a result of having a senior-led offensive line, great running backs, doing a great job.
Yeah, they've got a tough test coming up next week against Baker, and that will be another game I will keep my eyes on. But Sneed's definitely on the roll right now. We'll see how far they can take it. They've got a big contest coming up next week. Let's talk about our good friends out in Gaston County, the Jaguars, 6-1 on the year. They beat Mariana the second time, 32-9. And really, for the Jaguars, it was kind of like when you play a familiar opponent, you worry about, who's going to make the adjustment. And it's always tough to play a team twice. But business as usual for Gaston County as they were able to down Mariana to advance to the state semifinals. Jared Jones was 9-15 for 109 yards passing, and then also ran for 107 yards on the ground and had 3 touchdowns total. And then running back John Terrius Thomas rushed for 179 yards and 2 scores. And really for we talked about hitting your stride, and it takes a few games to get into gear. And really when you look at Gaston County, they were on again, off again. 1 week on, 1 week off, just due to COVID concerns, and now they're really hitting their stride, and it's definitely showing up on the field.
Yeah, kudos to the Jaguars for doing a great job. Coach Corey Fuller taking that team a couple years back, didn't win a game. Now they're in line to get to the state finals. Hopefully the payback here in Tallahassee for the finals in a couple of weeks. And I'm excited for him, and I think they're doing a good job. You got some great guys over there. They got a lot of D1s on that team too.
Absolutely.
The cupboard is not bare at Jaguar County.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to seeing how they will play. They match up pretty well with Bowles. That's a familiar foe that Corey Fuller has, and really, we had a chance to sit down and talk to him. Great conversation, but definitely wants to be able to get that coveted win over Bowles and take this team as far as they can. It would be great to see them playing in Tallahassee in December, but they have a pretty tall test next week. But for the Jaguars, really, it's just each week they just find a way to wear other teams out, especially on the defensive side of the football. I don't see a clear, true defensive standout. Just a bunch of guys just running to the football, and that's really what you want to see, especially at this time of the year.
Yeah, when your head coach is a great defender himself, you expect a team like the Jaguars to be a great defensive team, and look like that's bearing out in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jaguars will take that aggressiveness out to Jacksonville once again, where they link up with Bowles next week. Some other area scores: Columbia beats Mainland 28-26. And how about this? Lake City, we thought they were dead in the water a few weeks back as they ended the regular season with a losing record, and now they've evened things up. They're 5-5 on the year, and most of their wins have come in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the best place for it to come, Bart. You didn't have to worry about making the playoffs this year. You just had to get better doing the playoffs. So
they will face St. Augustine next week, and Coach, really for the area, we're used to having a bunch of teams to talk about, and it always gets thinned out at this time of year. But man, playoff football, there's nothing quite like it. I'm looking forward to next week's games, but this has been the Extra Point Rewind, and we will come back with our next segment. We'll have a great conversation talking with Corey Fuller. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll catch everybody in our next segment. For Coach Cofield, I'm Mark Adams, and this has been 4 Quarters Online, the Extra Point.